Republic of the Gambia. I hereby wish President Adama Barrow all the best from the bottom of my heart. The Almighty Allah has decided, and I will be found wanting if I, as a Muslim and a former president, do not sincerely wish him and his administration all the best. For the welfare of all Gambians, anytime my advice and support is needed by President Adama Barrow, I am ready to offer him sincere advice and services. On this note, I hereby donate to President Adama Barrow all the rice that is harvested at my Vision 2016 farms. Is that the entire harvest for him to give to the women who have been helping at the farms in CRR as seed rice, as most of them had no harvest at all due to the floods. I hereby appeal to President Adama Barrow and his administration to support Vision 2016 on behalf of the women, as this is the only way to ensure food self-sufficiency, growing what we eat and eating what we grow. On this note, I hereby also appeal to President Barrow to do everything possible to encourage Colonel Balde to come back and continue to manage the Vision 2016 farms, as he has an excellent rapport with all the women from the different communities that come to work on the farms. Otherwise, it will fail. And this will be a catastrophic blow to the women of CRR and beyond, who depend on the Vision 2016 farms, not only for quality seed rice given to them free of charge, but Colonel Balde has been ensuring that the Vision 2016 tractors plow these women's field on time and free of charge, thereby boosting their production and harvest by most 95% yearly. To conclude, I called on President Barrow to come in immediately and take over the supreme responsibility of President, Head of State, Commander-in-Chief, and first citizen of our Republic. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The new Gambian President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, has been urging Gambians, irrespective of political affiliation, to come together and work hard to develop the country. President Barrow made these remarks during a latest interview with journalists at the Senegalese capital in Dakar. Let's take a listen.
My message to Gambians is, let us all come together. One Gambia, one people, one nation. That is our slogan. We all believe now, if we are together, we can make a difference. It's because we are together, that's why we are strong to defeat the incumbent. So we want that to continue. Hands on deck, we move on and change this country together, so that the change will reflect everybody. That is my message. The relationship will improve. We cannot differentiate Gambia and Senegal. We feel that we are home. We speak the same language, eat the same food. Our relationship should be very, very, very strong. And to the international, we thank them for their stand. They have defended democracy here. And I think that have set an example to other leaders who might try the same thing. Those days are over. Days of democracy. You have to accept democracy and move forward. You cannot develop without those principles. And I think we are happy in one aspect. It was an African affairs, and Africans were able to take care of it.
His Excellency President Adama Barrow rallying all Gambians to unite and build the nation. Jammeh will leave, and we have reached an accord. Mauritanian President Mohamed Ould Abdel Aziz told local and international journalists on Friday, shortly before flying out of Banjul for Nouakchott, after a day of intense diplomatic maneuvers in Banjul. Let's take a listen.
Bien d'accord. Et il y a contre la violence. Et nous sommes très heureux d'être parvenus à cet accord qui sauve la Gambie, le peuple gambien, et qui sauve la paix.
Quels sont les termes de l'accord?
Les termes de l'accord seront difficiles de toutes les façons. L'essentiel, c'est que le président jamais cède le pouvoir. Il a fait son discours. Et nous sommes parvenus à un accord qui sauve le pays et qui garantit la paix au niveau de la République de Gambie et qui assure la sécurité, la dignité et l'honneur pour le président sortant.
Le président sortant, il va rester ici?
Le président sortant va voyager dès que les conditions seront réunies.
Quand?
Très bientôt, certainement.
Merci.
Thank you. Thank you.
His Excellency, the Mauritanian President, Mohamed Ould Abdel Aziz, on the outcome of their meeting with Jammeh. It took the leaders out to work out an agreement to end what was a frustrating impasse, but not after rounds of closed-door discussions in the gated confines of the State House. When they emerged, the message was clear. Gambia will never tramp the path taken by other nations. The visiting leaders spoke glowingly about the Gambia's resolve to settle a difficult issue with majority.
D'abord, je suis très ému de la dignité et vraiment du sens de l'honneur de son pays dont le président a fait preuve. Ce n'est pas facile.
The President is very moved by the dignity shown by His Excellency Yahya Jammeh. His address today to the people showed that it's a statement, and the President is very proud for what he has done for Gambia and the work and the progress made under his leadership. And once again, he saved the situation. There was no bloodshed. That's showing that it's a true statement, and he's very, very proud of His Excellency.
Et je suis très touché, je suis très reconnaissant. Et je ne l'oublierai jamais.
His Excellency Alpha Condé, President of Guinea. The United Nations Special Representative for West Africa has been in and out of the country from the onset and was thankful to all the stakeholders who worked hard to end the political impasse. Yvonne Chambers spoke to RHN Silva.
We are privileged to be part of this historic moment. As President Jammeh has said, we want to express our appreciation to President Alpha Condé of Guinea and President Mohamed Abdelaziz of Mauritania, who have risen to the occasion, to this moment, and have worked with their brother, President Jammeh, to prevent the situation in the Gambia from worsening. President Jammeh has demonstrated a sense of patriotism and love for his country. As he has said, anyone who will watch suffering come to his country, death and agony come to his country, cannot be considered a patriot or a nationalist. And as President and Commander-in-Chief of this country for 22 years, he has made his contribution to build the Gambia, and it will not be for him to watch what he has helped to build be destroyed. So the Secretary General of the United Nations appreciates very much this gesture on his part. He, together with the chair of ECOWAS, Madam Ellen Johnson, and the chair of the African Union, President Idris Deby, will be issuing a statement tomorrow to commend this very statesmanlike action on the part of President Jammeh, which is going to prevent the Gambia joining so many other countries in Africa which are known for conflict. We appreciate that Gambia will continue to be a country of peace and security and stability so that this country will continue to prosper. Thank you very much.
On a day he bid farewell to the nation he led for 22 years, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya A.J.J. Jammeh spoke of his immense pride in leading the nation as president. I am truly and sincerely proud to have been of service to you and our noble nation, he said.
I've done 22 years and I'm grateful to the Gambian people. All what I have wished for, pray to the Almighty Allah for the 22 years, Allah has given it to me. Now, Allah has decided that this is the end of my term. And as I said before, Allah tests your belief, your faith in Him. Sometimes something is wrong, it is very wrong, but that's your faith. Allah is testing your faith. Sometimes something is right, you think it's very right, and it's wrong. Still, Allah is testing your faith. Allah says in the Quran that when you are happy because only God makes you happy. Whatever Allah gives you and is very good and you are happy, pray to thank the Almighty Allah and continue to pray. But when you are also inflicted by something that you are not happy with, don't move away from Allah but thank Allah because He is testing you. They came because today I know who are my best friends, my true friends. As I used to say before, how many days he did not sleep. I don't want to keep it long, but I want to thank him because from the beginning of this crisis, he stood by the truth. Not necessarily the Gambia, but he stood by the truth.
That message came a day after he bid farewell to Gambians as he flies to Guinea-Conakry with the Guinean President Alpha Condé. Our Asian Silver witnessed the departure of a man who ruled for 22 years. That story will air in our subsequent news bulletins. In a bid to ensure a smooth transition from one administration to the other, the Office of the President has issued a press release read by Musa Jallow, outgoing Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service.
Further to the stepping down of His Excellency President Jammeh, the government of the Gambia recognizes His Excellency President Adama Barrow as the President of the Republic of the Gambia and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. The government of the Gambia, under myself, the Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service, calls on all arms of the government, especially the public services, to take up their historic responsibility and role in ensuring the continuity of government. As such, former President Jammeh thanks all Gambians, and especially the security forces, for their continued respect for the Constitution and the rule of law. We pledge our loyalty to the Republic and will continue to serve our nation under the President of the Gambia, His Excellency President Adama Barrow. All steps shall be taken to ensure the smooth continuation of government, and we will be working with all the members of the incoming administration in this regard. We plead with all Gambians to continue to manifest their most noble virtues of peace and tolerance, forgiveness and patience, and pray that, God willing, we shall make this peaceful transfer of authority from one son of the Gambia to another worthy son of the Gambia a historic and glorious page in the history of our nation.
Gambians who fled to neighboring Senegal for shelter are beginning to return home after enduring a difficult week in the French-speaking country. Mamadou Diallo went to the border settlement of Djiboro to gauge the mood amongst officials and people as life slowly gets back to normal. As we hear in this report, the Immigration Department is leading efforts to help people get back to the Gambia.
Gambians woke up to a new reality. The news broke out that Yahya Jammeh has finally succumbed to the inevitable. It took 12 grueling hours to convince the former military strongman to cede power after 22 years at the helm. This came as a welcome relief to Gambians, some of whom had fled the country to Senegal for safety. All along the main Mamadi Manjang highway, life was slowly returning to normal as people and traffic ventured on abandoned streets. Further inland at Jiboro on the border with Senegal, people were beginning to return as anxiously as they left.
Everything looks quiet here in Siliti on the Gambian side of the border, where some few days ago, thousands of people were making their way out of the Gambia for fear of being cut off in the political impasse that created the country. Now people are making their way back after hearing that the impasse has been resolved and an impending ECOWAS invasion averted.
It had been a challenging week for immigration officers who worked round the clock attending to terrified citizens running for safety. According to the immigration head at the Jiboro post, these were trying times for him and his men. Earlier, word had went round that ECOWAS troops had entered the Gambia, but Mr. Mane insisted that he has not seen any, adding that this area is quiet and peaceful. Mane and his men are busy facilitating an easy return for the thousands of people coming home. The Immigration Department has even, despite these two buses to the border, the ferry return is free of charge.
Seeing Gambians living their country going on. So when he had that Gambians are coming, he takes this position that the immigration is going to provide a force and a minimum of the city here that will provide transportation free for into this
Other soldiers in Rotary Club are also working to facilitate the return of refugees from Senegal by hiring vehicles for families stranded on the Senegalese side of the border.
Fortunately, I think things are under control. But we came across a group of Gambians who want to come back to the Gambia, but don't have the means to get. And we have managed to put some funds together and to ensure that they come back safely.
For these families, it is the end of a difficult week caused by uncertainty and fear. Amadou Diallo, who heads this extended family from Bakote, said he's happy to go home. It is a huge relief for us when we heard that Jammeh has agreed to step down. A visibly happy Amadou told me. These women and children from Mandidaba were equally happy to finally go home after enduring a difficult 3 days in Senegal. The coming days will refocus attention on this border post as the thousands of Gambians return home to a new era, which promises to banish fear from the smiling coast, which has been a bastion of peace in the sub-region. Mamadou Diallo, GRTS News.
We apologize for mentioning the Musa Jallo as the outgoing Secretary General. He is still the Secretary General of the Gambia. Famara Kanyi went out with a delegation convened by the Barrow government comprising of security chiefs and the Gambia Red Cross Society. As we hear in this report, the officials provide buses for the Gambian migrants to ease their mobility constraints.
Officers here are busy documenting returnees who fled the Gambia after weeks of political unrest. Sources here reveal that over 45,000 Gambians have passed through many of the borders with their families to the neighboring Senegal. This was as a result of the political instability the country had experienced in recent weeks, with most of the migrants being women and children. Many had taken this unprepared journey out of fear, leaving them stranded in the Casamance region of Senegal with no money to come back. The new government is now at their rescue through support from the security services and the Gambia Red Cross Society. Buses are deployed to all strategic border posts to help ease their mobility constraints. Usman Silla is coordinating the operation. He told me that a large number of Gambians are currently in Senegal, but through this initiative, they will help to bring them back home safely.
Some of them left in a hurry. They had no money. Some have been with their families in the southern part of Senegal, and also in the northern part of Senegal. You know, Gambia and Senegal, we are the same. People are the same. So some do have host, but others, we understand, we are sleeping outside.
But through this initiative, they will help to bring them back home safely. Together with his team from the Gambia Red Cross Society, they're putting in all measures to ensure the smooth return of all Gambians.
Gambia Red Cross volunteers are stationed in all these borders to support the people to come easily, reach home safely.
Every entering point of the country, you have the immigration. They will be screened. The intelligence, that is the NIA, also will screen them. And the CIUs, that are the intelligence of the police, to know whether rightly you are a Gambian or not. Let us not be fear about that. What our fear is, we have some Gambians that are living there, and they have no place to stay. And they are living outside. They have no food. So there is no need for them to stay. So that we are all calling them to come back to their homeland.
The outcome of the first operation is positive. Meantime, the forces are positioned in different border posts across the country to ensure that all those who fled are accorded safe return. For GRTS News, I am Famarakani.
Sworn in at a foreign land as President and Commander-in-Chief of the Gambia Armed Forces, President Adama Barrow has reaffirmed his stance of uniting a deeply divided country amidst a 2-month political standoff that ended with mediation efforts at the home front. GRTS's Babkar Kamara takes us to the start of this process when 4 ECOWAS heads of state visited the country and failed in their efforts, prompting military action that was settled without a single shot being fired. Details in this piece.
It is the dawn of a huge political wrangling that ignited a divided society that calls for an international mediation effort following the December 4th presidential polls in the Gambia.
I want to make it very clear that in the same way that I accepted faithfully the results, believing that the IEC was independent and honest and reliable, I hereby reject the results in totality. Let me repeat, I will not accept the results.
The subversive nature of the country's political atmosphere at the time had attracted international headlines and became the subject of visiting ECOWAS leaders in their bid to negotiate with both sides of the political divide. This led to the fleeing of many Gambians in search of peace to neighboring Senegal, in anticipation of war should mediation efforts fail. However, the arrival of the 4 African heads of state to discuss the Gambia's political impasse headed by a vote of confidence on President Buhari's military experience had failed during mediation efforts. But this diplomatic failure remains positive in military action, says a coalition government member, Ahmad Ba, during an interview with a foreign media correspondent.
Is the highest level delegation that has ever arrived in the Gambia before. Do you think that they have the power to convince him?
I think they have the experience and the know-how to deal with Jammeh. Remember, President Buhari is from the military, Jammeh is from the military. I think that will make a difference.
From their engagement with former President Jammeh to service chiefs and the coalition government, their outcome remains to be determined in an atmosphere of political uncertainty. But that is history, as the military high command declares allegiance to President Barrow.
To assure all Gambians and non-Gambians who flee this country as to the rumor that they have been hearing about the instability and the looming invasion in this country. We want to assure you that these are unfounded stories. All Gambians and non-Gambians who have fled this country are all to come back.
With recent presidential jets in Banjul for the second time to seal the Gambia's political void, Gambians have finally received the pleasant news, with ex-President Jammeh accepting to leave office and President Barrow sworn in as President of the Gambia State Republic.
I, Adama Barrow, do swear that I will well and truly execute the function of the office of the President of the Republic of the Gambia, that I will preserve and defend the Constitution, that I will do right to all manner of people according to law,
without fear or favor, affection or ill will.
Baukar Kamara,
so help me God.
GRTS.
Well, MS Jallo has been looking back at the dramatic political development which gripped the country. And in this report, there are calls for a united Gambia as the country enters a new era.
I, Adama Barrow, do swear that I will well and truly prosecute the function of the office of the President of the Republic of the Gambia.
He may have been sworn in on Gambian territory at the Banjul Embassy in Dakar, but President Adama Barrow will be remembered for being the president who took the oath of office in a foreign country. The reason for that was necessitated by the former president's decision not to cede power after he lost to Adama Barrow in the December 4th polls, citing what he said were some irregularities during the elections, preferring to contest the results in the country's Supreme Court. This led to a political standoff which threatened to plunge the country into a serious political crisis. The next few weeks that followed saw frantic diplomatic efforts to peacefully resolve the impasse, with military intervention also an option should diplomacy fail. 6 head of state frequented Banjul to seek a peaceful settlement. Uncertainty started to grip the nation amid ECOWAS